So here's Carlos giving his
7 sets now.
brushless 75
8 sets.
Whooper GPS test.
To boldly go where no whoop has gone before. And more important, to come back
On a switch.
on a switch. Right. Do you want to record from here?
Yeah.
Okay. Need to record the VR.
Move on the other side. There it goes. Let's see how long I can get on the camera before it disappears and you can't see it. And it's pretty much gone. I can't see it anymore now that I go to the screen. So it's 100 meters away. If you look at the top, right in the center.
99 still. The video is still looking good. Let's go.
Are you 38 meters high? Are you?
Huh? I think that's altitude. I'm not really sure. Oh, shit, I'm far as hell now.
You're 250 meters.
Shall I turn back?
Flick the switch. So he's flicked the switch. It snaps straight back to home.
It's so scary. Yeah, I can see the thing
So
is
you see
reducing.
the meters counting down, coming back.
No hands, ma. It's so scary.
So he's whoops flying back home now. Oh, look at that. 100 meters away. Oh, it's starting to descend.
I can see it. I can see us.
I can hear it.
Let's see what
I can hear it.
what it does. Oh yeah, now it's starting to. Oh, what the hell is that? Where else? Where we at? There we are.
Right underneath. That's it.
That was proper scary. I love it. What if I go here on the street?
Let's check your arrow. Yep, your
The
arrow's
thing
good.
with this is that it makes it so like you can explore now. You can explore like without any fear of
You're
anything.
getting bad video on your.
No,
it's
on the
good.
receiver, on the
No,
transmitter.
it's good.
Like I just flip a switch and that's it. Comes back. Oh, look at the train. Let's go hunt the train now.
There it is.
Now we can. Oh. Let's just turn that way where the train is going.
You're going to turn a bit more if you can.
Yeah,
That's it. Spot on.
I've had enough with the train. Let's turn back. This is completely insane. Can you see it in the sky?
No, not yet. You when you hear it is when you see it. Oh. Can you hear it?
Yeah, I can see the. Well, I think we're.
You're still maintaining altitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're fighting wind, I think.
Yeah.
The meters are going down slow, 60 meters away.
You can hear it now.
Altitude still 42.
Somewhere.
Oh.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Where is it? I can hear it.
40.
What?
40. I'm gonna go into angle and dive down now. Yeah, there we are.
Where is it, man? I can hear it. But oh, he's up there.
Oh. Made the wrong turn. There we go. Insane.
That's impressive.
Insane. Completely and utterly insane.
That was crazy. It works.
I don't even know. I've never done all of this places ever before. Definitely wouldn't do any of this with a whoop.
But because you got the switch, it's possible.
Super hard. It's super hard to understand. Like it's just houses everywhere, so it's
Yeah.
super hard to understand.
You turn back after 200 meters, you don't know where you are. It's all the
There's
houses.
some dot over there.
Nice. So that is it. Beta 75 with GPS.
So what's the secret? Very simple. This little GPS unit is called a NAS GPS. You can find a link in the description. You can find it. It's super cheap, and you can find it throughout the internet and several websites. And the actual connection that it has, you can see here in the back. It's going to the flight controller. There is a 5-volt cable. There's a ground, black, and then the blue and the yellow are the RX and the TX respectively, and it's indicated on the other side of the GPS. So the RX from the GPS goes to, you pick one UART that you have free in your flight controller, and the RX from the GPS goes to the TX of that UART, and the TX of the GPS goes to the RX of that UART. And that's pretty much all the connections that you need to do for the GPS to be functional. Now the rest is done on Betaflight. So you connect in Betaflight, and the first thing that you have to do is go set up the ports. So under ports, you're gonna select the UART. In the UART that you connected the RX and TX. In my case, it was UART 3 was the available one. What you need to do is go to the sensor input and then put GPS. Now, depending on the GPS that you're using, the baud speed, which is this number here, is going to be different. So you can just set it on auto, and it will automatically detect what speed you should be connecting to. Then save in reboot. It's going to connect again back to the Betaflight configuration, and then the next thing that you have to do is go into configuration. So in configuration, you're going to need to first of all enable the GPS by scrolling down a little bit and then just flicking the GPS switch to on. Then save in reboot and make sure that you have the protocol selected as well. Now I've changed between NMEA and U-blocks. It didn't really make a difference between the two, but I had the best results. Well, the last results on the video that you just saw was in U-blocks. So this configuration is exactly what I had for the flight I've just done. So I selected U-blocks, connected the auto pad, so that checks what the connection speed to the GPS should be, and then put auto configuration, and for the ground assistance I just put auto detect. So after you select all of this, click save and reboot, and you're done. Now if you want to see what the GPS is doing, there's two things that you have to do. First, you need to connect a battery to your craft in order to power the GPS. Again, depending on the flight controller that you're using, your flight controller might already provide the 5 volts that the GPS needs to power up, but normally you see, again, depends on the GPS, but you see a little light coming on the GPS, normally like a little blue light or a red light that starts flickering. And also you see this signal here that says GPS here on top will be enabled. So because I don't have any battery connected to my craft, you're not going to see any of that show up. But when you set up the GPS to be activated and you say reboot, you're able to see a new tab here on the left when you enable expert mode. So if you do that, you're going to see there's a lot more tabs here to see. One of them is the GPS. So once you connect the battery to the craft and the GPS is detected, please give it like 5-10 minutes. Make sure you're close to a window, and you should start noticing the signals starting up to show up here. My recommendation is you should have more than 6 satellites to start, or 5 is the bare minimum, but don't have any less than that. So in my OSD, I have the following setup. I have the RSSI here on top, followed by, in the same column, the position to home. So this little arrow is going to point to where home is, and the distance from home. Then on the right hand side, I have the mode that's currently activated. So if it's on GPS mode, I'll know that it's on GPS. And it's probably quite easy to miss when you were watching the footage from the flight, but if you check back, you'll see that this is probably, say, rescue when it's coming back, so you know it's on the correct mode. Then just below on the next line, I have the satellites that are being picked up, the warnings that the craft is going to give me, and then I have the altitude and the speed. And then below, I have the voltage, the amps that I have, and the various band that I'm currently using. I don't know why my screen isn't showing, but I also have why isn't it showing? I don't know why my screen isn't showing, but I also have the voltage and the time that the craft has been flying here as well, as you saw from the OSD. Lastly but not least, don't forget to go to the modes and select the GPS rescue toggle that you want to use to make your craft come back home. Otherwise, check this next options for the CLI, where you can make it come back home on a failsafe. Right, a couple of other things that you also need to enter on the CLI, because there's no configuration in the Betaflight configurator for this. So in Betaflight, you just need to go to the CLI and then type in the following, which is most appropriate to you. And this documentation is in Betaflight's documentation for the GPS rescue mode. Remember that for all of this to work, you need to be on Betaflight, at least Betaflight 3.5 or 3.51 or above, I guess. So the first thing that I've selected was the GPS rescue's initial altitude, and you just type this in CLI. The default is 50 meters, which for me works all right. Depending on the altitudes that you fly or the things that are surrounding you, I would change this to a different thing. Then the next one is the GPS rescue ground speed. Again, the default is 2000. I just left it at that because it's the maximum speed that your whoop is gonna travel back, and it seems to work pretty well for me. Then the GPS rescue angle, this is an important thing because for whoop, because it's so light, this angle is not enough. So for me, I bumped this all the way to 45-degree angle, and it seemed to make it a bit of a difference because whoop was traveling a bit faster than when it was at the default. And then lastly, but the most important for me, is the GPS rescue descent distance. So when I first tried this the first couple of times, I noticed that the whoop was starting to come down at, well, I guess the default, which was 200 meters. The problem with that is that one of these times there was an object between me and the whoop, and GPS doesn't see if there's objects or not in the path to come back to you. So it just bumped on a tree that was in front of me. So what I've done is I've set this to the minimum distance, which is 30 meters. So set GPS rescue descent equals to 30, and the what this does is that it maintains the distance that you set here on top. So the GPS rescue initial altitude, again mine is 50 as well, but you choose whatever you want. So it maintains this altitude, and then when it gets to the minimum, which is 30, that's when it starts its ascent. And this is normally, at this point, it's already on top of you, so you can take control and land it yourself. The other thing that you need to set up as well is the minimum satellites that you want to be that you want the whoop to have before you can fly it. And I've set this to 5, but I'm considering setting it to 0. So if I just want to fly with the whoops and I don't really care about the GPS, it will still arm and go. Otherwise, whatever you default to is what it will need in order to arm and go. Keep in mind that it's when you arm that is setting the home position. So if you start flying and you have 0 satellites, it's not gonna just magically recognize that where your home was. So you need to land it when you have 5 or more, is my suggestion. Land it, disarm it, wait for a second, rearm it again, and it should detect your home position. So rescue minus satellites probably to 0 is a good option if you just want to fly it most of the times. This is very, very important, and I'm happy that they suggest this as well. Always check when you're thinking of using this rescue mode and you're going. Always check that the GPS rescue arrow. So you'll have to set this up in the OSD. Always check that the system rescue arrow is pointing towards you. So to make sure that you're not gonna fly whatever whatever the GPS thinks your home is. And lastly, so you can actually fly and you don't have any issues, you have to set this, they say rescue sanity on, but actually this will just make you whoop disarm wherever you set the switch to. So you have to set GPS rescue sanity checks to rescue sanity off. This is very important, otherwise it's not going to work. And if you want to set it as a failsafe as well, just set this on the CLI as well. So set failsafe procedure equals GPS rescue. Again, you have to do all of this in the CLI because there's no real configuration checks that you can use on Betaflight yet. Maybe they will include it in a future release, I'm not sure. Annoy the devs for that.
I do hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, remember to subscribe so you keep on par with my other videos. Like up this video, share with your friends, all the random things that YouTube forces me to tell you. Also on this side, you're gonna have a couple more videos that you can keep on watching on the channel. Thank you, bye bye.